Hey everyone, and welcome to this walkthrough video of Motion, the new instrument from blecksaudio. Motion is all about, well, motion. Both intentional and unintentional movement is at the core of this instrument, designed to inspire creativity. It's packed with sound sources recorded by professional musicians and synthesized sounds crafted by award-winning sound designers. These sound sources gradually change, morph, and evolve in texture or play style, making every note feel like a unique performance. Motion is designed to help you generate fresh ideas with every use, giving you new musical possibilities that have never existed before. Every control, parameter, and function in Motion is created to deepen and enhance this ever-changing behavior. Now, no matter the origin of the sound source, whether it was recorded live or synthesized, there are two main types of sounds: swarm and cloud sound sources. Swarm sounds are characterized by small impacts that randomly occur, varying in density and frequency. Cloud sounds, on the other hand, are defined by smooth, evolving swells, which can be either short or long. With over 100 sound sources to choose from, you can assign up to 4 layers and easily crossfade between them using the central XY pad. Each layer has its own dedicated controls, parameters, and functions, allowing you to shape the sound to your liking. If you're looking for a bit of randomness, you can also individually randomize each layer or completely design a new preset from scratch. Alternatively, you can explore over 200 factory presets available in the Advanced Preset menu. Here, you'll also find powerful features like preset filtering and tagging, making it easy to find the perfect sound when deadlines are tight. Now, let's dive into how to get the most out of Motion. First, let's take a look at all the controls and options you have for each individual layer. As mentioned earlier, each layer can be randomized by clicking this button here. You can control the pan and volume for each layer individually using these two controls. To assign the sound source to a layer, you can either use the skipper buttons or the Soundsource menu. We'll explore the Soundsource menu in a bit. If you click on the background of any layer, you can access the layer editor. By the way, if you hold the Alt key on Windows or the Option key on Mac, while adjusting any layer control, it will link to the other layers, which can be a really useful feature. Note that all parameters for the different layers are the same, so understanding one means understanding all of them. Now, let's take a closer look at the controls in the layer editor. You can apply both high-pass and low-pass filters to the layer and control the filter slope by clicking the small icon above the cutoff controls. Next to the filters, you'll find the delay and reverb send controls, which send the audio from a layer to 2 separate send effect buses, one with a delay effect and the other with reverb. We'll dive into editing these effects in a moment. Closest to the XY pad, you'll find the pitch and transpose controls for the layers. You can transpose the layer using the skipper buttons or by clicking the number here. Below that, you'll see a control that can either adjust the pitch or the tonal offset of the layer. You can switch between pitch mode and tonal mode by clicking this button here. In pitch mode, this control adjusts the playback speed of the sample, which changes the tuning. For example, if you play a C note on your keyboard without any pitch offset, the sample located at the C position in the sampler is played. Now, if we pitch it down by 3 semitones, the same C sample is played, but at a slower speed, so you'll hear it as an A note. Now let's switch to tonal mode and apply the same -3 semitone offset. In this mode, the sample located at the E-flat position in the sampler will be played, but the same pitch offset will be applied as before. You'll still hear a C note, but with a different timbre. This allows you to quickly alter the sound of each individual sound source without having to adjust two different controls. Moving the control upwards makes the sound brighter and more brilliant, while also increasing the playback speed. Moving it downwards results in a smoother, slower playback. So if you feel that a sound source is evolving too quickly, adjusting this control can help slow it down and shape it to your liking. In addition to enhancing the evolving behavior of the sound sources, each layer in Motion can be assigned one of 3 different play modes: pad, ARP, and beat. In pad mode, the sound source is played exactly as it was recorded or designed. It lets you hear the sound in its original form without any additional modulation or rhythmic manipulation. ARP mode turns the sound source into an arpeggiator. You can control the arpeggiator pattern, sync time and octave range, including negative values. There's also an AD envelope with attack and decay settings to adjust the timing of each arpeggiator step. I'll cover some specific tips for using the ARP mode with modifications in the advanced layer editor shortly. In beat mode, a tremolo or stutter-like effect is applied to the layer, modulating the volume rhythmically. You can adjust the modulation sync speed, shape from sine wave to pulse wave, pulse width, and depth. You can also choose whether the modulation syncs to the offbeat or downbeat relative to your keyboard trigger. One of the cool things about using ARP mode and beat mode across different layers is that you can create interesting polyrhythmic patterns. By applying different sync timings to each layer and using the XY pad to crossfade between the layers, you can seamlessly blend between different subdivisions and create complex, evolving rhythms. These are the controls for the layer editor, but there's more options in the advanced layer editor. Just click this little gear icon to access it. In the advanced layer editor, you'll find additional modulators for panning, such as an auto pan effect and a voice spread control. You can also assign individual outputs to each layer, adjust the Samplestart options, and use the reset button to restore the layer to its default settings. The auto pan slightly pans the layer from the left to the right speaker and vice versa. You can adjust the speed, set whether the speed is free or synced to the tempo in your DAW, and the depth of the effect. The voice spread control allows you to randomly pan each voice to the layer across the stereo field each time you hit a key, so each note you play is randomly spread between the left and right speakers. In the output section, you can assign individual outputs to each layer. Note that in Contact, you need to initialize these outputs first for them to show up in the menu. To do this, enable the output window in Contact's View Manager. From there, you can add and delete new outputs. After making changes, you may need to reload the instrument or hit the panic button in the top right corner of Contact to refresh the output menu. Next, let's talk about the Samplestart options for each layer. You can set the Samplestart to either random or fixed. In fixed mode, you control the Samplestart offset, which means you can choose whether the sample plays from the beginning or starts from a different point within its length each time you trigger it. In random mode, the Samplestart is chosen randomly. so every key press plays the sample from a different starting point. Here's a tip for using the arpeggiator mode. Remember that motion includes both swarm and cloud sound sources. With swarm sound sources, you might find that some parts of the sound source are quieter than others, and these quieter spots might be triggered by the arpeggiator, leading to an irregular arpeggio pattern. If this becomes an issue, try switching the Samplestart to fixed mode and adjust the offset. You might also experiment with automating the Samplestart offset while playing an arpeggiated pattern to achieve some interesting effects. Last but not least, the Reset Layer function allows you to restore the layer to its default settings. Simply click on the Reset section, hit the Yes button, and all layer settings will be reset to their defaults. Let's close the Advanced Layer Editor and explore how to assign a sound source to a layer. As mentioned earlier, you can use the skipper buttons to browse sequentially through the sound sources, or access the Soundsource menu by clicking this button. In the menu, you'll find a selection of over 100 different sound sources. To choose one, simply click on a menu entry. To assign a sound source to a specific layer, click on the respective layer button. If the focus button is enabled, the XY pad will update to reflect the selected layer, allowing you to hear only the chosen layer, similar to a solo function. Since Motion features a wide variety of sound sources, there is also a filter to help you browse more efficiently. Open the filter and select an instrument type. This will display only the sound sources related to the chosen type. Additionally, you can highlight specific characteristics, such as the previously mentioned swarm or cloud characteristics, using the menu below. For example, if you're looking for piano swarm sound sources, click on Piano in the filter and highlight the swarm sound sources. This will make it easy to select the desired sound source. After completing your sound source selection, close the Soundsource menu by clicking the Exit button. Motion not only lets you manually crossfade between the 4 layers using the XY pad, but also features an automatic crossfading option called Motion Record. To access it, click the button on the bottom right to unfold the transport panel. When you hit play, the form selected in the form selector will play. You can modulate it using the scale control, the phase start, and the speed control. Both phase start and speed can be synced by your DAW. With phase sync enabled, playback will not start until you hit play in your DAW. Speed sync adjusts the length of the performed form to match your DAW's tempo. In addition to using the predefined forms, you can record your own performance and play it back on the XY pad. To do this, click the record icon. This button arms the recording, which only starts when you interact with the XY field. Move the cursor as desired, and once you release it, recording stops and playback of your own recorded form begins. To start or stop playback of the motion record or a pre-selected form, click the play button again, or use the key switches provided. The green or yellow one starts and stops playback, while the red one resets the phase according to the settings of the start phase control during playback. This can be used to create effects, similar to sample chopping, to add more rhythm. Underneath the XY pad, you'll find a small gear icon that opens up the global options. This section controls settings that affect all layers. Here, you can adjust global velocity to volume amount and access an AR envelope with controls for attack and release. Keep in mind that when using the arpeggiator mode, the layer will ignore this envelope, as it only affects layers in beat or pad mode. You also have the option to assign a MIDI controller to the XY pad and adjust the crossfade behavior. The crossfade behavior controls how long a sound source persists as you move the XY cursor away from its layer. Turning the knob to the left results in a more linear fade, while turning it clockwise increases the persistence of the sound. Click on the FX button at the bottom center to access the parameters for the send effects. Feel free to experiment with these controls to shape the effects to your liking. There's also a handy feature to randomize the effect settings. Just click the dice icon and a new set of parameters will be generated. Let me say a few things about the impulse responses available for the reverb effect. Most of them are based on room or reverb simulations, which you're likely familiar with. However, impulse response technology, particularly in convolution reverbs, is incredibly versatile. You can load almost any sample and often get unique, creative results. If you own a convolution reverb that allows you to load custom samples, it's worth trying out. In Motion, there are 3 special impulse responses built in: crackle, vinyl, and Geiger. To explore them, open the Reverb Type menu by clicking on the name and selecting one of these options. Crackle and vinyl were created using old phonographs, capturing the noise you hear just before a vinyl record starts playing, especially when it's covered in dust. Geiger captures the sound of a Geiger counter, used to detect radiation. When these are loaded into the convolution reverb, they create interesting, randomized, delay-like reverb patterns, perfect for an instrument like Motion. Once you've finished refining all the parameters to your liking, it's time to save your sound as a preset. To do this, click the floppy disk icon in the top right corner, enter a preset name, and choose either Create New or Overwrite. Selecting Create New will save your preset to the next available slot in the User Preset menu, while Overwrite will replace an existing preset you've selected. The preset menu has 2 modes: the factory preset menu and the user preset menu. After saving, you'll be in user preset mode, where all your saved presets are stored. To switch to factory mode, where you'll find over 200 factory-built presets, click the User Factory button. Simply select any preset from the menu to load it. There are some differences between the 2 modes. In user preset mode, for instance, you can copy, paste, or exchange presets. To do this, select a preset, click the copy button, then choose a slot where you'd like to paste or exchange the preset. In factory mode, you'll notice star buttons next to the preset names. These allow you to mark a preset as a favorite. All your favorite presets will be saved in the Favorites menu, which you can access by clicking the Favorites button. Here, you can browse your marked presets and unmark them if needed. To make browsing presets easier, there's a preset filter that allows you to search presets by tags. You can even add or remove tags for both your own and factory presets, streamlining the process of finding the perfect sound quickly. To access the preset filter, click on the Filter button. You'll see 4 menus. The first, second, and third are for filtering, while the fourth displays the results based on the selected tags in the previous menus. The filters operate using OR and AND logic. This means if you select multiple tags within one menu, the presets matching any of those tags will be added to the results. The results from the first menu will then be further filtered by the second menu, and so on. If you want to further customize Motion, you can add or remove tags from presets, edit how tags appear in the filter menus, and even add or remove categories that can later be used as tags. However, keep in mind that these changes are permanent and cannot be undone. Making edits without care may alter the original design and intention behind the preset menu, so proceed thoughtfully. To access the edit features, press the Filter button while holding down the Alt or Option key. Several gear icons will appear. The first 3 gear icons allow you to edit the appearance of tags in the filter menus. Any selected tags can then be used in the filter menu. The third icon enables the preset tagging feature. Click the plus icon to add tags to a selected preset or click the X button to remove them. If you'd like to add a new category, click the Add Cat button. Enter a name for your new category and hit Add. Your new category will now be available as a tag for presets. You can also enable the Tag from Menu view, which allows you to tag a preset using the 3 preset filter menus. To exit the tag options, simply press the Filter button again while holding down the Alt or Option key. You're now fully set and ready to explore motion. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the instrument. If you need any more guidance, we have a detailed manual available on our website. We hope you enjoy using Motion as much as we do. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for the latest updates on upcoming instruments. We're excited to hear the unique sounds and tracks you'll create using Motion. Have fun crafting your new soundscapes, and we'll see you next time.